Hello, I am Lisa Reid of the Cartus Supply Chain Management Team, and I am so glad that you could join us for this instalment of Cartus on the Ground series. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Triona Chalaya, General Manager of Pathfinder Relocation Services. Triona will talk on several subjects important to people moving to Malaysia.
We have condos, many projects coming up in the next few years, and we have gated communities. Not so many gated communities, but we have a few in the big cities. There are some apartments, the older ones, but expats prefer to go into the newer apartments, of course. With the new apartments coming up, we see a downward trend on the rental rates of the older apartments. There's a lot of availability in apartments in the cities, especially Kuala Lumpur. We can negotiate the rents. Now, apartments are individually owned. Okay, when they're individually owned, the rental may vary a little bit because it depends on the furnishings that they put in and also on the level of apartment that they situated. The higher it goes on the apartment block, the rental will also increase. Now, some blocks of apartments are owned by corporates, not that many. You cannot negotiate. What they say you have to pay. And what they give you cannot ask for anything extras like you can ask for in the other apartments. In the apartments, you will get a fully furnished kitchen. Okay, the cooker, the fridge, washing machine and dryer. That is standard. Now, if the apartments are the smaller apartments, they will come fully furnished. Okay, if it's a larger apartment, like 3,000 square feet and above, it'll have a fully fitted kitchen, but you would have to bring in your soft furnishings, like beds, sitting room set, dining room set. It will have the wardrobes and other items in. Now, the newer apartments tend to be larger. They tend to be about 3,000 to 6,000 square feet. So that would be very big for a single person. Saying that, we do have some smaller apartments, newish ones, but not that many. Going into any country, school is more important than the housing. So actually we zoom into the schooling first, then the housing. For an expat coming in, they are very lucky actually coming into Malaysia because we have got 2 American schools and we have 2 English schools which are top. That means about 90% of their teachers would be from either America or England. So we call them the top tier schools. Now, if we have a family coming in, we would generally advise them as soon as they know they're coming into Malaysia to get in touch with the relocation company and send their children's date of birth. From that, we can contact the schools and see if there's availability. If they're not coming in for 6 months or so, we would advise to put their name down and register. Now, if we have a problem with those schools, we have got lots, we call them the second tier schools. And we have a lot of English, no American, but a lot of English. And they're about 6 years, in the last 6 years, we have quite a few new schools starting. Now, when I say second tier, that means there would be about 50 to 60% of international teachers. I'm not saying that there's anything bad about the schools, they're just as good as the other ones. And if there's a problem with the one school, we can get them into another school. Saying that, we also have French, German, Australian, Japanese schools. So if we have families coming in that don't speak English, and they might fit into one of the other schools. So that's why I say that, you know, education-wise, there shouldn't be a problem. Even if you have got secondary school or higher education, we also have got universities that they can start and go back to Australia or England or America and carry on. So I feel education is not an issue. The road systems are pretty good in Kuala Lumpur. There's a lot of highways and access roads getting from one area to another. So you may have certain areas, but if you get to know those areas, then you would know what time to avoid going into those areas. You don't need a driver at all in Malaysia. Everybody drives, you know. Public transport, we have some underground, we have trains, but they're only in certain areas. Like Mount Kiara won't have that public transport. So you have to have a car. Generally, you would need a car. Security, like in every country, you'll have some robberies. The same goes for Malaysia. In apartments, as I said, the security earlier is pretty good. On the outside, we advise the ladies when they're walking on the street, don't show off all your jewels. Keep it modest. And your handbag, to wear it on the inside. So no motorbike can come on the outside and grab your handbag. To be aware that these things can happen. And I think that goes for most countries. Well, first of all, I would advise them to have the pre-view trip, and husband and wife. Because sometimes we have the spouse coming in, they may be working at home, they're coming into a new country and they're very nervous. So we would advise them that if they're coming in, to take advantage of the situation. You're coming into a multi-racial country, cultural training is very important as well. The business people need to know how to work with the locals. There are certain customs that you would have to know about, and to have a smooth understanding on the work area is very important.
I hope that you've enjoyed this look into a move to Malaysia. Thanks to Triona for sharing her insights with us. If you would like additional information about Malaysia, please send us an email. We'd love to speak to you. For Cartus Supply Chain Management, I'm Lisa Reid.